You're listening to XVGM Radio. Welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Mike.
And I'm Justin.
And this is episode 23, Boss Battle Themes.
Boss battles, yes. Those lovely villains that get in your way. Mid-bosses, mini-bosses, main bosses.
Tiny bosses. Baby bosses.
Micro-bosses. Boss babies.
Boss babies.
Wait, no.
No. We are here to talk about all of that and more. We have picked a selection of boss tracks. I feel like this is going to be a shorter episode because a lot of these tracks are a little shorter. We've picked some absolute bangers though this time around.
Oh man, I was surprised when I was listening through our playlist here. There was some really rockin' tunes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a nice blend of classic tracks and songs that you've maybe never heard before, or maybe tracks that you're gonna hear for the first time, and you'll be like, "Whoa, that came out of nowhere!"
Yeah,
some more obscure stuff. So we've got a lot of really cool stuff planned this episode. And we'll talk about bosses as well. So just hang out and be chill.
So my boss is really cool. He works in New York.
Yeah. Is his name Bowser?
That would be awesome. No, it's Jason, actually.
Well, technically, the now president or boss of Nintendo of America
is named Bowser.
His last name's Bowser. He
finally did it.
Hysterical. Yep. Good old Bowser. And I love the very first photo that he took. He's got Mario and Luigi tied up with a power cable, like little stuffed animals behind him.
Yeah,
he's like thanks for everything. Yeah. So the track that we just heard is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist. It came out on the Genesis in 1992, and that was, of course, the boss battle theme by Masahiro Ikariko, Yuichi Takamine, Kaori Kinouchi, and Hideto Inoue, who are all the sound arrangers as far as I know, and the composer of that was Mutusuhiko Izumi. I remember the first time that I played Turtles in Time on the Super NES and was blown away by its soundtrack. Then I heard the Genesis version and was just like, oh my goodness, it's so much better at points. Like, don't get me wrong, and I know I may get a lot of flack for this, I love Turtles in Time. It's great soundtrack, great game, but there's so much more punch in a lot of these Hyperstone Heist songs on this soundtrack. This song in particular, that bass specifically.
Slap bass,
There's just so much more sting and like vibration and vibrato in that, and it really is brought out with the instrumentation. There's only one part that I feel is really kind of lacking, and that's like right towards the end, right before that loop, which you commented before we started this episode. You thought it was kind of weak.
Oh, I thought it was kind of harsh.
Yeah,
it felt like a sharp cut. Although I would guess that when you're actually playing the game on the Genesis, it probably doesn't cut like that because the where it cut back into that slide. That
right. Yeah, you're talking about the part that's like and then it goes. Yeah.
I would imagine the track when it's actually being played on the hardware, more than likely skips the slide and just loops back into back into itself, which sounds a lot better.
Yeah, no, so. I can agree with that, and I also would say that whole it sounds a lot weaker than on the Super NES version. I think the instrumentation on the Super NES version is just a little better on that synth. Otherwise, it sounds very flat here.
Yeah, I mean, you're also talking about the difference between the sampled sounds on the SNES versus the like the FM synth, like the produced sounds on the Genesis.
Well, they got most of the sounds in terms of those synth hits. Mm-hmm. I mean, like they nailed those on the Genesis, which I've never heard that many soundtracks on the Genesis that make that good of use of synth hits.
That's true. Actually, when I first heard this song, it sounded really familiar, and I even asked you, is it the same song as it is as from Turtles in Time?
Right.
Because they sound super similar, and the synth hits are actually kind of what got me, because I'm used to the synth hits on the SNES.
Yeah.
Like they sound pretty much just like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was like, am I listening to the right version? Did you link me the wrong one?
Yeah. But you could tell right away once that slap bass comes in, more towards right before the track loops, that just crazy solo that happens. And
it's really good.
It's very different than on the Super NES version. It's just so much more, like I said, like punchy, like energetic, and it just has a little bit more like of a thrashy element to it.
Yes, it does. There's also, I'm going to say it because we're listening to a Genesis track, I did like this track. There is a little bit of twarmp to it.
Where's their twarmp? I didn't hear twarmp.
Right in the beginning. Like if you listen to to that slide and
with the brrr.
Yeah, and even the slap. I like the slap bass. Yeah. I really like the way it sounds, but it has a little bit of twarmp. It's not as twarmpy as some of the other stuff we've heard. But go back and listen to it and think about twarmp and twarmpiness.
No, because then you're inputting the twarmpiness into my brain. I don't want to think about twarmp.
Well then.
No twarmp. Sans twarmp.
I've ruined it. It's too late. You're always going to hear it now.
So Masahiro Ikariko worked on mostly Konami stuff, starting with Snatcher in 1988, doing Sunset Riders in 93, The Adventures of Batman and Robin in 94. They did sound effects and music on, that's for the Super NES version. Then worked on the Silent Scope series with Silent Scope in 2000, Silent Scope 2 Dark Silhouette in 2001, Silent Scope 3 in 2002, and then Silent Hill the Arcade in 2007. Their final game was GTI Club Super Mini Fiesta in 2008. There's a couple others on that list, but that's a good chunk of what they worked on.
Yeah. And then Yuichi Takamine has just a few things as far as audio goes. They started out on Detana Twin Bee in 1991, and then did TMNT Hyperstone Heist, and then in 1998 they bowed out with Battle Tryst.
Right. Kaori Kinouchi worked on Bio Miracle Bokute Upa. They did sound design on that Famicom game in 88, and then afterwards also worked on Detana Twin Bee in 91, and ended their career as sound designer on TMNT Hyperstone Heist in 92.
And Hideto Inoue started doing... It's a long list. Started doing sound design in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1989. I believe that's the NES
arcade game.
Yeah, it's the arcade game, which was also ported to the NES.
Yep.
Did sound design on Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure in 1993. But you thought I was going to say Buster Busters.
I did.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, also in 1993. Speaking of Twin Bee from earlier, Poppin' Twin Bee Rainbow Bell Adventures in 94. And then we come up to Deadly Arts in 1998. They were sound programmer on. And then finally in 2000, International Superstar Soccer 2000, they were sound program.
Yeah, and a few other games in there too, but we're just kind of skipping around. Mutusuhiko Izumi was the composer on that one, and they started out again with Snatcher in 1988. Followed it up with Gradius 3 as one of the sound editors. That's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
SD Snatcher in 1990. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake in 90. Also worked as the composer for Turtles in Time, which makes sense because almost all the music from this game came from Turtles in Time a few years prior. Did music editing on Metamorphic Force, which we played a few episodes back on the Beat 'em Ups episode. I think it was, 18?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah, sure. Sexy Parodius in 96, they were the music advisor on that lovely beast, and then they ended their career so far with Beatmania 2 DX 14 Gold in 2008. They did new songs, composition, remix, and arrangement.
I almost corrected you, and then I was like, wait, no, he said it right.
I said it right.
Good job. And you were correct. Episode 18, Beat 'em Ups.
Yep.
So, you got that.
So have you played Hyperstone Heist?
I have. I've played it, I think, once or twice with you and or Eric.
Okay.
I don't remember where. I just remember seeing the game and being like, oh, this is really cool. Like, it's very, very similar to the Turtles in Time on the SNES, which is one of the reasons that I really liked it. The music was similar, so everything was really familiar. The controls, I mean, it's hard to mess up those controls, really.
Yeah, a lot of people consider it a port.
Yes.
I did a review on it.
Just gonna say,
and I didn't consider it a port because I feel like there's too much that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're gonna port something, why are you gonna change the name? It doesn't make sense to me either that people consider this a port.
Yeah.
Like, I get it; they're very similar. There's a lot of crossover, but there's also enough divergence.
Yeah, totally different plot, definitely, for sure. But yeah, fun game, great music, a lot of fun. So I'm glad that the Genesis ended up with a TMNT game outside of Tournament Fighters.
And a really good one.
Yeah, Tournament Fighters is like brutally difficult on the Genesis. So.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
All right, let's move into our first track of the day outside of the intro. This is Valkyrie Profile. This came out on the PlayStation 1 in 1999. It came out on the PSP in 2006 under the name Valkyrie Profile Lenneth. And it also came out in mobile on 2018. This track is called Confidence in the Domination, and it's by the always fantastic Motoi Sakuraba. You have returned to XVGM Radio, and that was Valkyrie Profile from the PlayStation 1 99 release, PSP release in 2006, and mobile release last year in 2018. That was Confidence in the Domination by Motoi Sakuraba. What did you think of this one?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I enjoy. I enjoy this track. For one, I've never actually played Valkyrie Profile. I have a lot of friends who have, but I'm familiar with the music.
Dude.
Yeah, no, I know. There are too many good JRPGs on the PlayStation 1.
True.
And there's not enough time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this and a lot of the JRPGs on the PS1 are like the last bastion of like good MIDI music. And that's not to say that there's nothing that's come out since that's been good, because there's plenty of indie stuff.
Well, I mean, technically we did that interview with Jeff Ball on Time Spinners, and that's like a MIDI soundtrack that's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's this era that's sort of like the last bastion of, or at least AAA titles that are doing this type of thing. Because then you get to even the PS1 had plenty of Red Book audio, but you get to the PS2 and everything's pretty much fully orchestrated, and then
a lot of
et cetera, going forward.
A lot of it is. is. I mean, I think it depends on the developer too, because even Nintendo was doing MIDI, back in like the GameCube era. You know what I mean? And even like a lot of their current games, like especially like the lower end titles, they don't use full orchestra. They do.
On the handhelds, especially. I guess I'm mostly talking about consoles.
Right. Valkyrie Profile is a very depressing, sad game, at least when it starts off.
Yeah.
Have you seen the intro, at least?
Yes.
Okay. 5 minutes in, your lead character dies. And you're like, what just happened? And it's like, it's so sad, and it's so, I don't know, it's just so, it sucks. It's just awful. You really just have to watch the intro, or play the game. When you finally start to pick up the paces in the game, so you're playing as this girl, Lenneth, and she's like the Valkyrie. She's got the Valkyrie spirit in her, and she goes around and gets all these people that she makes part of her so-called Anheriar. Probably butchering that, but it's essentially a group of warriors that are all supposed to be like taking down the big bad.
Right.
And this is the boss battle theme that you hear for a good chunk of the game. So it's not like the regular fight theme song.
Right.
It's
the one when you're fighting
the boss.
Yeah, bosses, stronger enemies, stuff like that.
And the thing I find really weird about this song, which Motoi Sakuraba likes to do this a lot because a lot of his music, especially nowadays, in both Valkyrie Profile, Star Ocean, like a lot of those RPG series, a lot of it is very progressive, like progressive rock, progressive metal kind of type stuff. More progressive rock, I'd say, than anything, or Japanese progressive rock, Japanese inspired. And he's guilty of making these songs sound like you're interrupting the middle of the song. You know what I mean? Like
the time signature changes, or the
just for a song to open up the way it does, like I see
what you're saying.
It sounds like you're in the middle of the song, not in the beginning of the song, and so you're just kind of like, what? Did I just jump ahead? Like, did the track skip 30 seconds? Like, so that's always kind of how I felt when this track came on. One thing I love about this game is it's got voice acting for when you're fighting. So when you press a button for a character, the way it works is your face buttons, like X, square, triangle, and circle. When you press those, it's based on a battle grid for your characters. So it's 2D side-scrolling when you're going through like the dungeons, and then when you start fighting, it's still technically 2D, but it's on like a weird grid based on the button layout of the controller.
It's not like isometric?
It's like your characters... no, not isometric. Your characters are in like a diamond pattern. And so when you press X, whatever character you have on X jumps out and starts attacking. And when you press square, whatever character you have assigned to square starts attacking. And you could do these sick combos where you'll press like X square triangle, for example, or X square circle, and you just start sending these characters out, and when you send them out, they have like these little like vocal things that they'll say. One of my favorites is this character Arngrim, who's basically Guts from Berserk. He basically just has a giant sword, and he's just like, I'm tired of you, and he's like finishing blast or whatever, and he comes in and slices the character, like the enemies, and just like blows them to bits. So it's just really, really cool to play this game and see the boss battles, or even just the regular fight scenes, kind of break out. They're really fun, and the only thing I will say is have a strategy guide, because this game you only get a certain amount of time, like real time, to play the game. I think you get like 72 hours to beat the game, and if you can't beat the game in 72 hours, you're screwed. Like, you have to start over. So, and a buddy of mine, I found out about this game through my friend in college, who I talked about on the, I think it was the Lame Genie episode, where we were talking about the Silent Hill thing. Yeah, so my friend Chuck, who I talked about in that episode, he was the one that showed me this game, and it was right before we went away for summer break. And he was like, gotta check this game out. We started playing it, and I was like, this game is awesome. I need to get this game. But it was still pretty expensive back then, and I just never got around to getting it. I ended up picking it up I would say probably like within the past 10 years for like $50 complete in box. So
wow.
You can get a little cheaper on the PSP, you can get a lot cheaper on mobile if you don't really care about what format you're playing. But if you want it cheaper with additional like full motion video cutscenes, go with the PSP version.
The PSP version?
Huh? Yeah, it's a little cheaper. You could usually try it for about a little under $20 usually.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, and Motoi Sakuraba has done everything. I mean, just...
Dark Souls.
Yeah, did a lot of stuff for Camelot, like the Mario Golf games.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he did some of the Mario Party stuff as well. Star Ocean, Valkyrie Profile, Tales of Fantasia, I believe he also worked on.
Possibly.
A lot of those games he worked on. So a lot of those Tri-Ace games.
Tales of Berseria, Tales of the Rays.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's done a bunch of those Tale games because they're all through that company Tri-Ace.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us for your first track?
All right, so first up, I'm going to throw at you Kirby's Epic Yarn. I think I played a track from this game a few episodes ago, actually. But this came out on the Wii in 2010, and the track is called Versus King Dedede, and it was composed by Tomoya Tomita. Welcome back, folks. That was Kirby's Epic Yarn, which came out on the Wii in 2010. The track was called Versus King Dedede, and as a quick correction, it's an arrangement of a track that first appeared in Kirby's Dream Land, which was composed by Jun Ishikawa. So, Tomoya Tomita was actually the arranger on this one.
Correct. Yeah, and Jun Ishikawa is pretty much the Kirby composer. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, have you played this game?
Yes, actually I have it.
Okay.
My wife and I have played it a few times.
Cool.
I don't think we've beaten it together. I know she's beaten it.
Because it is multiplayer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's Kirby, and I forget what the little yarn guy's name, or what the blue Kirby is named, but yeah.
Blue Kirby.
Yeah, probably. Blurby.
Waddle Dee.
Blurby.
Blurby. I think it's Waddle Dee.
Is it a Waddle Dee? I didn't think it was a Waddle Dee. Either way.
Yeah.
I've played a bit of it, and...
Blurby.
Blurby. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed the aesthetics of this game in particular. I like how everything was made out of yarn.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nintendo's done this a number of times. You've got Yoshi's Woolly World, which was also a fantastic game.
Yeah, it kind of all started back with Yoshi's Island.
I was just going to say
visuals.
Paper Mario, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not even
No,
for the visuals.
Yoshi's Island came first.
That's...
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, they've always kind of done that where they're like, let's take a visual style and let's make it like paper or clay or Crayola or, crayon, markers, all sorts of different stuff. They try to get creative with their visuals and their graphics, so...
Yep.
But yeah, Kirby's Epic Yarn's a lot of fun. It's really cool how you could pull on buttons to find secret hidden items and stuff like that, coins and whatnot.
Yeah, I also liked in this track the rhythm section that sort of background pitter patter diddle 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 diddle.
Yes.
In my head, it reminds me of a penguin running.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's King
or
Dedede.
Kirby running.
Or possibly Kirby running.
Yeah, a lot of Kirby music has that kind of pitter patter. Yeah. So this is when you, I guess, are fighting King Dedede, at the end, or is he the big bad?
Yeah, no, he's not, I don't think he's the big bad.
No.
I want to say he's partway through the game.
Okay.
Yin Yarn, the evil sorcerer, possessed a tomato that Kirby wanted to eat, and then when Kirby tried to eat it, he magically banishes Kirby into Patchland.
Of course.
Which is where all this yarn stuff comes from. It's a world made completely of fabric. But
why are you laughing?
It's just
stupid.
It's very silly, but it's also really endearing.
Right.
The game itself is silly,
it's
but it's also
that's
really
cute.
Exactly. The blue Kirby, I believe, is Prince Fluff.
That's right.
What it is.
Yep.
So, and then, Yin Yarn captures King Dedede and Meta Knight and places them under control. So they're bosses that you fight.
Them.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing about Kirby is that even the bad guys are all friends eventually.
Yeah. Everybody's friends for one way or another, and usually the fights are misunderstandings.
Right.
Or just like King Dedede is like, no, I want this thing. Kirby says no, and he's like, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Right. Yeah, which is so Dedede.
Yeah. And then Meta Knight is he's a curmudgeon. He just hates everybody.
Pretty much. Meta Knight is like the anti-hero of the series. He's like the proto-man, if you will.
Proto-man. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Tomoya Tomita has worked on quite a bit, right?
Yeah. So Tomoya Tomita has a number of musical and sound credits. Started doing music composition on a game called SD Snatcher in 1990. Did a lot of music composition in 1990, actually. Did Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, everybody's favorite Metal Gear. Did some sound directing in 1996 with Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, the part of the Goemon series.
Yep. Yeah, did a lot of the Goemon games come from Goemon.
Castlevania in 1999.
That's the N64 one. He was the sound director,
It's weird. I thought it was called Castlevania 64.
Fans have dubbed it Castlevania 64.
That's why.
It never actually got the 64 on the box. It was supposed to. They called it Castlevania 64 in magazines and stuff like that, but when it came out, it was just called Castlevania.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Jumping up to the closer to the top of the list. In 2000, they did Dance Dance Revolution Disney Dancing Museum, Castlevania Circle of the Moon, that was a fun game, Wario Land Shake It in 2008, and then we see Kirby's Epic Yarn in 2010, and Yoshi's Woolly World in 2015. So.
Yeah, he was mostly a sound director and sound producer for a lot of that. Didn't really start picking up music again until Wario Land Shake It.
Yeah, and then did music and sound effects in Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yep. Yeah, that was the final game. And again, Jun Ishikawa, Kirby. Yeah. That's pretty much all you need to know. It looks like we are getting a call on our wonderful little hotline. How about we have Janine? Can you go ahead and forward us over that call, please?
Hey, caller, you're on the air with XVGM Radio. What can we do for you?
Hey, everybody, it's me, Mario.
Hey, Mario, what's up?
Oh, I want you to play a song for me. I want you to play Mario 3, the overworld theme. Waha!
Sorry, Mario, we're doing a boss battle theme today, but we can play a Mario 3 song for you.
Just play my song. Waha!
That's the second time that's happened, and I'm not going to stand for it.
No, we're sticking with it. I don't care if Mario's the boss normally as far as Nintendo goes. All right? He's not the boss of me. We're sticking with the plan.
Yeah.
We're picking Mario 3 on the NES. It came out in 1990, and the track is Boss Battle, also known as Boom Boom's theme, or the Koopa Kids theme.
Oh, yeah.
And it's by Koji Kondo.
Hi, I'm Bowser. Some people call me King Koopa, but they're wrong. Anyways, I'm here to talk to you about big bosses, mini bosses. Need to hire a boss, but don't want to pay the coin for the big guns? Go with someone like Boom Boom here for a quarter of the price.
I'll swing my arms and move from left to right. They better not know how to jump or else...
Quiet, Boom Boom. Don't give away the secrets. That's how you end up in the position you're in. Talent these days, am I right?
Hey, I resent that.
Oh yeah? Well, I resent you. Anyways, call us at 555-BOSS-A-LOT or go to our website, bigbossesminibosses.gov. Save some coin and some headache today.
Welcome back, dear listeners. That was Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES that came out in 1990. That little classic track was Boss Battle, also known as Boom Boom's theme, also known as the Koopa Kids theme, and that was by Koji Kondo.
Such a classic.
So many
memories. Yeah.
Such memories.
Such memories. Much nostalgia.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's start with your memories on Mario 3. When was the first time you played Mario 3?
Ooh, way back. I don't know how old I was. Probably shortly after it came out.
Same here.
In the 1990.
Yeah. I think I got it like shortly after it came out as well.
Yeah. But I mean, it was so different. I mean, I'd played Mario 1 obviously on the NES. I'd played Mario 2 on the NES, and when I played Mario 2, obviously as a kid, I didn't know all the craziness behind what we actually got, and I was just like, it was so different from Mario 1, and it was so cool, and there's so many things that I liked about it. Like I liked the Phantom Mask thing when you pulled up the keys and stuff.
I loved Mario 2.
Mario 2 was a lot of fun.
Loved it.
I've never ended up beating it, but no,
it's a tough game.
One day I'll actually sit down and go back like I did with Zelda.
We should sit down and play it sometime because it's a lot of fun. Like, it's just a fun little game just to go through one afternoon. Yeah.
But as far as 3 goes, I mean, it was another change. It was sort of back to the way Mario 1 was in the overarching sense. Like, you really only played as Mario or Luigi.
You're not pulling stuff out of the ground.
Right. And you back to your classic enemies. But there were so many things that were just different about it. You had this map on screen. It felt almost like a board game because of the way that things were laid out.
Oh, because of the overworld map. That was the first time I think that I ever saw an overworld map.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was so neat, and I loved Mario 3. I'd have to say, if you asked the child Justin what his favorite Mario games were, he'd probably say Mario 3, then Mario 2, then Mario 1, and that's classic NES.
Interesting.
I now would say Mario 2, then Mario 3, then Mario 1.
Interesting. So my favorite Mario. So on the NES, I still say Mario 2 is the superior Mario. I love 3, don't get me wrong, but I feel like 3 has such a brutal difficulty curve. Like you could beat the first 2 worlds pretty easily, but then when you get to world 4, 3 and 4, it really starts to climb pretty high, and then when you get to 7, it's impossible. That game is so difficult.
Which world was 7?
That was the plant world.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree. I played Mario 3 to death, which was one of the reasons that I eventually sort of grew stale to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also, I knew how to get the first 2 whistles.
Yeah.
You skip all the crazy stuff. I liked the idea of the giant world, but I didn't enjoy playing it as much as I enjoyed the aesthetics of it.
I like the big world, but I always struggled with that one as well. I think 5 and 6 are my 2 favorite worlds to go through because they're
really. You like the ice world?
Yeah, I love the ice world. I mean, I'm a big fan of ice levels. I don't mind ice levels at all.
Which one was 5? Was 5 the mostly water one?
5 was weird because you had 2 different parts. You had
You
go up to you beat that one spiral temple or whatever.
And then you end up in the clouds.
And then every level is clouds. So I always thought that was really kind of jarring. But I love 3. Don't get me wrong, but I gotta give it up to Mario World. Mario World was just
I mean, if we're expanding beyond the NES,
then Mario World to me was the best Mario.
I mean, I feel like every time a new Mario game came out, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Up until Mario 64, and I mean, even Mario 64 blew my mind. I just didn't enjoy it as much as a lot of other people did.
This takes place when you're fighting Boom Boom, for the most part. And I think it's also when you're fighting the Koopa Kids, too.
Right.
And Boom Boom is a mini boss that you encounter in a halfway castle.
Right.
Halfway to the end of each world. He's just this big, kind of doofy dinosaur that, like, throws his arms around and, like, sometimes will jump. Sometimes he'll have a spike on his head where you can't jump on him right away. If you try to jump on him, like, back to back, like, jump, you know, hit him, and then, like, he'll, like, start to glow, like,
he gets invincibility.
Color. Yeah, he gets invincibility for, like, a second. But then you can get hurt if you're standing right there and just waiting for him. So that's something that I always struggled with as a kid because I'd be so impatient.
Oh my god!
So I'd want to like keep jumping on him, but then I would just end up dying. So,
yeah. No, that's pretty much my experience too. Like I enjoyed them, but they were always very quick fights for me because it's like jump on him 3 times, and usually you could get him to like hit this pattern that's just super easy to jump on him.
The one time that always threw me off, which I always thought was hilarious, was the one where he flies.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Because you have to jump his.
You hit him
pop
once.
His wings off.
You hit him once, and then he's like, "Nope, see ya," and he just starts flying, and I'm like, "Whoa, where did he get that ability?"
Yeah,
that was funny. Koji Kondo, Mario, Zelda, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, not to downplay Koji Kondo.
Oh no,
we've talked about him a number of times on this show.
Yeah,
he's
the godfather of video game music. So.
Basically, yeah.
So what do we got next?
So next up, we're gonna hear a track from Mega Man X. A track, you say? Of course, a boss battle track. This is Boss Battle 01. This came out in the SNES in 1993 and was composed by Setsuo Yamamoto, Makoto Tomozawa, Yuki Iwai, Yuko Takehara, and Toshihiko Horiyama. Welcome back from that track. That was Mega Man X on the SNES in 1993. The track was, of course, Boss Battle 1 by Setsuo Yamamoto, Makoto Tomozawa, Yuki Iwai, Yuko Takehara, and Toshihiko Horiyama.
A lot of people for one awesome song, but I always felt like this one was like 3 or 4 songs put together.
Really? Oh, yeah, I could kind of see that.
Because you've got the da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then you've got that part that's like da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na,
yeah,
da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then it kind of ends with da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And I always felt like the whole song was just like 3 random parts that maybe 3 or 4 composers came up with, and they were like, I don't know, let's just put them all together.
They work so well together.
They do.
I can see where you're picking different things out there, but I've always really liked like the boss battle music for all the Mavericks in Mega Man X. I feel like it's appropriate considering the setting and everything. Yeah. And then it's really driving. Like the song I felt kept me engaged and immersed in the game. Yeah,
it's a great boss battle theme. I mean, it gets you pumped right from the beginning, and then it keeps you pumped throughout it. So
I'd say one of my favorite parts of the track. I mean, you've got the classic Mega Man X power guitars, but the keyboards in this one I really like. They're really like twinkly and fast.
They take the lead, in my opinion.
They do.
Up until that da-na-na-na-na-na.
Yep.
Right. I remember being hyped for this one when I read Nintendo Power. And one thing that a lot of people don't talk about with Mega Man X is on the back of the box of the game, there's an image of a white city. It looks totally different from any level that you'll ever be in, and I'm pretty sure that it was only on the first print of boxes. That was meant to be a level that they cut from the game. And it was funny because I was on Twitter, and I'm friends with the creator of Mega Man Unlimited, on Twitter.
Yeah.
And somehow that level came up. And he mentioned it, and I was like, dude, I thought I was the only one that knew about that. Like, it's and I've talked to other people about it, and they have no clue what I'm talking about. Like, they'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, no, like, that doesn't exist. I'm like, I swear it does. It absolutely exists. There was a level that got cut. I don't know that much about it. All I know is people used to call it like the white level or like the white cloud level or something like that. Because there's like clouds in the background. It's really crazy. So, yeah, that's one of my weird little things that I just have bubbling in the back of my head at all times whenever someone's like Mega Man X. Like, somebody would be in the corner hanging out and be like, oh, yeah, I was playing Mega Man X the other day. And I want to, like, run over to them and be like, do you ever see the cloud level? No, you don't, because it's not in the game.
That's interesting. I did not know about that.
Yeah.
I've never owned this game on the SNES.
Oh, really?
I never had the I was into like Mega Man 3 was my favorite Mega Man.
X4 was your favorite, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I missed a lot of the Mega Mans mostly because I never really kept up with them. I started with Mega Man 3, which is part of the reason that's my favorite.
Sure.
I played 2. I now own 2 and 3. Finally, about a month or two ago, I posted about how I finally got how I finally picked up 3. After that, I think I'd played... Which one's the one with Pharaoh Man and Skull Man? Is that like 4? Okay, so then I guess I played 2, 3, and 4, and then just sort of fell off the bandwagon. Like I didn't realize how many they were pumping out. When X came out, I was like, wow, I thought it was 10. It was just Mega Man 10. So I was like, wow, I missed out on so much. I'm not even gonna bother.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until like high school, around when Mega Man X4 came out, that my friends were obsessed with Mega Man and Mega Man X, and I was like, "Oh, you mean Mega Man 10?" And he was like, "No, this is actually like that RPG, that me not understanding RPGs from a few episodes ago."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, do you mean Mega Man 10?" Like, no, Mega Man X.
Oh, the
totally
free
different
picks
Mega
episode,
Man.
right? I think that was the free picks episode.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
But so then I was corrected.
No.
And shown Mega Man X4, and then I just fell in love with it again.
I don't think you're alone on that one. I remember when the game came out, and I remember getting it, and I'm pretty sure I said the same thing. I was like, wow, Mega Man 10? Because I didn't play 7, and I knew 6 came out, but I didn't play 7. And I think
Had 7 come out at that point?
I think 7 came out after this, actually,
I was gonna
now
say,
that I think about it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But that was super confusing to me, because I was like, X? Okay, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, X, 7? I was like, what?
Yeah, no, it's 100 years later.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't get that at the time, and it wasn't until I was in high school that one of my friends sat me down and was like X4 just came out, play it, and I loved X4, and then I went back and played X1, and X1 is a lot of fun too. I think my favorites for the X series would be X4 and then X. And then 2 and then 3. 3 I haven't played that much.
Yeah.
I think I've played 2 slightly more, so I'd probably rate that higher.
Yeah.
X5 wasn't bad, but I didn't really like it that much, and it just kind of got worse from there.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I agree.
Yeah, I started with X, and then I played X2. I rented it, and I rented X3 as well, and then I bought X4 when it came out, and I didn't really play anything else after that. So
I think one of the other things
I think I played X5 briefly, but
I think one of the things that really endeared me to X4 was a lot of the voice acting. It's so bad, but I love it.
So
it's not over yet.
Yeah. What am I fighting for?
Oh, yes.
So let's talk about your favorite boss in Mega Man X. What is your favorite boss? And I guess you can technically throw in Sigma in the Sigma battles.
Yeah, I really do like Sigma, but I mean, if we're gonna stick with the binomial Maverick,
right?
It might be Armored Armadillo.
Okay.
Just because, I find him to be very goofy, and I like how he loses his shell if you hit him with electricity.
I'm gonna say I really like fighting Storm Eagle. I especially like that there's 2 different, depending on which way you go, because there's a lot of different things in this game where if you go one way or if you do one thing, it'll change the level layout and everything of the level. With this one, like, Storm Eagle comes in and, like, the whole area is, like, blown up. Like, the wing is, like, blown up, which is really cool. And I love that fight. It's just, it lasts a little longer than some of the other fights, and it's not as, like, I like Spark Mandrill's character design, but, like, he's so easy to defeat. Just use the ice blast on him, and then just, like, stand there, and, like, you could literally eat a sandwich and look away, and just time shooting him. and just beat him that way. It's super easy.
Yeah, I mean, I did say in our Lame Genie episode that I really like Chill Penguin. I really like his music.
Yeah.
I don't know about him as a Maverick so much, but yeah, I mean, overall, Sting Chameleon's not bad. I sort of like him. He's goofy, he hangs from the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I think for level design and boss design, I think I like Armored Armadillo, because if you don't have the electric weapon to fight him, he's not a particularly hard fight, but I find his fight to be very entertaining.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So, regarding the composers...
there's so many of them, and we've touched on them a number of times in the past.
We have.
So, I'm just gonna...
2 games from each.
2 games from each, done.
Setsuo Yamamoto, Pocket Fighter in 98. And Beatdown, Fists of Vengeance in 2005. He was the mixing engineer on that one.
All right, Makoto Tomozawa. We will go with Dino Crisis 2 in 2000. He did sound composition on it. And then he did music on Axria Retro World in 2012.
Yuki Iwai worked on Street Fighter 3 Double Impact in 1999. And Final Fight 2 in 93.
Yuko Takehara worked on music in Final Fight 2 in 1993, as well as Vampire Chronicle for Matching Service in 2000.
That's the Darkstalkers Japan-only Dreamcast version that was online. It was like online.
Yes.
Yeah. Toshihiko Horiyama, our final composer for this song, worked on Mega Man 7 in 95, and Resident Evil Revelations 2 in 2015. He was the sound designer on it.
All right.
Cool. That was nice and easy.
Yeah. Move on.
You did it. So let's move on to King of the Monsters 2, The Next Thing. This came out on Super NES in 1993, so we're going from one Super NES track to the next. This song is called Huge Frogger, and this is the goofiest song I picked this episode. It's by Eiko Kaneda, Hiroji Kobayashi, and M. Honmyo. Welcome back. That was King of the Monsters 2. The Next Thing that was on the Super NES in 1993. That was Huge Frogger.
Huge Frogger!
Yeah.
It's in all caps.
It's in all caps by Eiko Kaneda, Hiroji Kobayashi, and M. Honmyo.
All right, so I just want to read my notes here real quick.
Okay.
What the... I'm joking with that.
What the Frogger?
Yeah, what the Frogger? My ears...
What the Frogger?
My ears are so confused right now.
All right, so before the break, I asked Justin, right before I played it, I want you to think of a cartoon theme song.
And now I do. I said after we listened to this, I was like, I have no idea what the heck is going through your mind, what you're thinking of. But when you introduced it, it then clicked. And this is from Tailspin.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh,
I didn't even think of that.
That's what I thought you were going for.
No.
So then I don't know.
That sound effect sounds like something that Mark Mothersbaugh wrote on Rugrats.
Does it?
With those like, Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like all the music in Rugrats had like that weird vocal effect with the voices.
Ba-ba.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why, but like that's what I think of every time I hear this track.
That's fair. I wouldn't have gone that route, but that's because having only heard this for the first time right here, right now, my brain went, what are you doing to me? Like, can I get out from between these two headphones?
Can I leave? Like, I love this song. I don't know why. I absolutely love this song.
Oh, I know why. I mean, it's the same reason you like that song Savage.
Right.
And that song from Global Gladiators.
It's just
it's
goofy.
ridiculous.
It's so goofy. My favorite part, though, is when it goes da-da, and then you just hear oh. So goofy.
Oh, so silly.
And then, like, right before the loop, you hear, like, a drum drop, like, a one single snare, like, pop. And then it cuts back into the oh. So good.
Wow.
I love it.
So tell me about this game, because I need to know what.
This game is great. This is an SNK developed and published game. It came out on a bunch of different systems, mainly started out on the arcade. Obviously the sequel to the first game. The first game isn't as good in my opinion. This one, they really amped it up. So it's kind of like Rampage a little bit, but like way better in my opinion. Like I never really liked Rampage, but
like eating people, destroying...
Kind of destroying environments. So like you're playing as one of these giant 3 characters. Super Gion, who is a character that is from the first game. He's kind of like a dragon, like a giant dragon. Cyber Wu, who's a cyborg King Kong kind of looking character.
Oh, nice.
And then Atomic Guy. All these characters were from the first game, but now they just look a lot different. They look like more superpowered, I guess, or mutated or whatever. This is the stage 1 boss, Huge Frogger. So as you're playing through the level itself, you're just moving around a 2D environment. It's kind of sort of overhead, not overhead, but like maybe from the off in the distance, not quite isometric either. It's kind of hard to explain, but you're kind of walking all over the city, just like destroying everything. You can grab like buildings and then throw them at your enemy or whatever.
Oh wow.
A lot of the moves that you're doing though require you to grapple onto the enemy. So you like go up to the enemy, you grapple with them, and then there's a lot of like back and forth where you have to like press the right button at the right time, and then you'll like do a move on them, like a wrestling move or whatever. It's just a goofy game, but Huge Frogger is the first boss. I don't know why they call him Frogger. I don't think it has anything to do with the character Frogger from like Activision or whoever owns Frogger.
I would imagine that there'd be licensing issues there.
Yeah, no, he's just a giant frog monster. So, but as soon as Frogger shows up on the screen, so you're in the level and you're taking out all these buildings or whatever, and when Frogger shows up, you hear this music, this
Wait, are you telling me that the rest of the music is not like this?
It's a lot more subdued. It's a little bit more laid back. Wow. It's still action packed.
Yeah.
But it's like not as goofy, It's like more like something's happening in the city. It's like a mysterious kind of song. A little bit more like with delayed synths, like, that kind of like pulled out a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that's like, and then like a backbeat in the background, like, da, 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 da,
A little more ethereal.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when this track starts playing, like I think there's like a warning sign even that Frogger's appearing. And then he appears, and he's got this weird laugh on the Super NES version where he's like, wah, 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 wah. It's like the It's so funny. Yeah, but this game you go around and you're trying to defeat each character. So you're playing the level and then you get to a certain point of the level where like it's either like you get enough points or it's been a while since I played the game, but each level has a boss that you have to finish off.
Right.
But as you're going through the level, you are fighting other animals and other monsters and stuff like floating eyeballs with lips and weird stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre, but and then you go into these like wrestling moves where you move like left to
right.
You know,
right.
once you grapple, you're gonna move like left to right, like fast enough, and then whoever wins gets to do like a suplex or a power move.
Huh.
So, super fun game, lot of fun, great stuff.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend picking it up. It's a really fun, cheap, easy to play game with enough challenge that anybody can jump right in and play it and enjoy it. So yeah. King of the Monsters 2.
Nice.
The composers on this one, Eiko Kaneda, worked on Splatterhouse 2,
wow.
Dig Dug in 92, Splatterhouse 3 in 93. Pretty much jumped ship to work on King of the Monsters 2 and then faded away into the distance. Hiroji Kobayashi worked on King of the Monsters 2 as their first game, so kind of the opposite. Then followed up with Expert in 96, Jimmy Houston's Base Tournament USA in 97, Goemon New Age Shutsudo in 2002, and then his last game was Iron Combat War in the Air in 2013. M. Honmyo only worked on Adventure Island 2, King of the Monsters 2, and Adventure Island 3. Pretty much doing the music for all of those.
Huh.
Yeah. So I highly recommend everybody check out King of the Monsters 2. It's a lot of fun, and you can find the game for relatively cheap anywhere.
No, it seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Despite that track throwing me way the heck off.
Listen, all I gotta say to you is, oh, 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 oh.
Tailspin.
Friends for life through thick and thin. It's the King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to your track.
Yes, let's move on to my monster. So,
Gross.
So, I'm going to play something from Legend of Legaia. It's a JRPG that came out on the PS1 in 1998. The track is called Koru Battle Theme, and it was composed by Michiru Oshima, Tomohiko Fukuoka, and Koei Tanaka.
You're listening to XVGM Radio.
Thanks for staying tuned. That was Legend of Legaia. Came out on the PS1 in 1998. The track was called Koru Battle Theme and was composed by Michiru Oshima, Tomohiko Fukuoka, and Koei Tanaka.
Kind of sounds a little bit like something from the Ghost in the Shell PS1 game. It's got that like electronica, like backbeat kind of
the little
breakbeat.
Breakbeat. Yep.
Yeah. I was digging it. I was feeling it. Yeah, a little bit more subdued, laid back, but
yeah, we're starting to come into some of the lower energy tracks from all the like high energy boss battles that we had.
Well, you can't exactly go from like what do you follow that up with? You got to come down from that.
Yeah, it's true. So this is the first boss that you fight in the game, which is named Koru, if that wasn't obvious enough.
Yeah, Koru's battle theme.
So Legend of Legaia is one of my many PS1 nostalgia games. I don't think I hit this one in the Justin's Picks episode because I was trying to do one game from each sort of system and whatnot. But
generation.
Yeah. So much like with your Valkyrie profile pick earlier, this was one of my favorite non-square JRPGs on the PS1. And it was fairly interesting because it was very unique. So the plot or the setting is on this world called Legaia, and people use these things called serus. They're sort of like symbiotes that allow you to do magic or
symbiotes.
Symbiotes like Venom.
Except symbiotes.
But yeah, I mean they're not exactly like Venom. They don't like cover your entire body. They basically stay on your wrist, and they like connect with you, and they basically allow you to do like fantastical things,
like a swatch.
Yeah, basically. But the three characters are Vaughn, who's a martial artist, Noah, who's like a feral child.
What?
Literally, like she's this young kid and she's feral. There's reasons for it in the game. Like she's actually the daughter of the king and queen.
Like eating garbage, feral?
She doesn't really talk a whole lot.
Okay.
She
silent protagonist.
I'm trying to think. Chrono Trigger.
Ayla,
thank you. Yes, kind of like that.
Okay.
And then there's a warrior monk named Gala. And my favorite character was Vaughn, because Vaughn, when you're in battle, he's very similar to, was it Sabin from Final Fantasy VI? The martial artist where you got to input. It's the same thing. Like you input button combinations and they make him do different super moves and stuff.
That's cool.
And it's really neat. I mean, if you screw it up, then he either doesn't do any damage or he doesn't do as much damage. But when you get it right, he's really powerful.
What does Trash Girl do?
I don't honestly remember. Vaughn was the one who left the biggest impression on me.
Okay.
Like, I don't honestly remember what Gala did either. But
so you can play as all three at once? Or?
Yeah, well, it's a JRPG,
right.
So that's your party. Exactly. Yeah. It's a really neat and very unique game. There's a sequel to it as well called Legaia 2 Dual Spirits or something.
Yeah, I think that came out on the PS2.
Yeah, it didn't do all that well. It's not really worth looking into. But this game, if you have a chance to pick it up or play it, give it a shot. It's just interesting for PS1. I don't remember, to be honest. I don't think it was as long as like the Final Fantasy games. Sure. But at the same time, I also did everything there was to possibly do in the Final Fantasy games. Okay. And this is a lot more linear. There's not as much side questing in this game.
Okay. Cool.
So, we have three composers on this. We have Michiru Oshima, who had started doing music composition, uncredited, unfortunately, in 1993 on Taiko Rishiden. Was also uncredited on Genghis Khan 2, Clan of the Grey Wolf. Then went on to do Legend of Legaia, did music in the sequel, Legaia 2 Dual Saga. Sorry, not Dual Spirits, Dual Saga. Music composition on Ico in 2001.
Okay.
And then the last thing they did, theater music orchestration arrangement for Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess in 2006. Next up, Tomohiko Fukuoka started out doing sound production in Shanghai Triple Threat in 95.
Oh, that had a good soundtrack.
I don't think I've heard much of it, but I have heard good things about the music. Did music direction and sound production in Arc Lad 1 and 2. Obviously, Legend of Legaia. Omega Boost in 1999.
The PS1 game.
Yeah, the game that Eiffel 65 sings about. And then, of course, the Arc Lad collection 2002, but did Arc Lad 1 and 2.
Sure, makes sense.
And then we end with Koei Tanaka.
Love this composer.
Yeah, not to be confused with Hip Tanaka.
No.
Started out doing music in Cybernetic High School Part 3 Gunbuster in 1990. Did music in Tengai Makyo Zero in 1995. Did did music on Alundra in 97, the Grandstream Saga, another weird JRPG that I happen to have an obsession with.
Yeah, go to the end. Go to the end.
All right, your 2 favorite games, Gravity Rush in 2012 and Gravity Rush 2 in 2017.
I love those soundtracks.
Those are good
Great
games and soundtracks.
Yes, agreed.
Also Alundra and Alundra 2.
Yeah. So I'm going to play you a track from Puyo Pop Fever. This is on the GameCube. This came out in 2004. It also came out on the Game Boy Advance as well, but this track, I believe, is called Untrained Demon King Ultimate Legend.
Nice.
And it's by Hideki Abe. Huh. Welcome back. That was Mega Man X9 on the GameCube. No, that was Puyo Pop Fever on the GameCube. Came out in 2004. That track was Untrained Demon King Ultimate Legend and it's by Hideki Abe, and wow, what a track.
Yo, who gave that horse a bass?
I get it. Galloping bass.
But seriously, that was some really good galloping bass there. I didn't notice it not because it wasn't good, but because it was really good and really well integrated into everything else. It wasn't until close to the end of the song that I was like, oh hey, galloping, yeah, nice.
I have been waiting to play this track ever since I found it like a few months after we started the show. And I think I found it in like August, September. I was just driving around listening to music or whatever, and I found this as I was like on my way to CVS. And I was like, oh my god, what is this song? I was like, this is fantastic. Like,
and then is this from a Puyo Pop game?
Yeah.
Because when I listened to it earlier, I was like, wow, that's...
Yeah. Like, the Puyo Pop games have pretty good music, and I was thinking about saving this, and doing it. At first, I was going to save it, and I was going to be like, oh, let's do a Puyo Pop episode.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, well, I don't know enough about the Puyo Pop game, so I need some time to put that together. So I was like, you know what? Let me use this as a free picks. And then I had it in as a free picks, and then I ended up swapping it out like really early on, and I was like, no, I gotta hold on to this one. It's so good. And I had to unleash it to the world in this one because it is technically a boss theme. Yeah.
No, this was really cool. The couple of things that stood out to me. So there's a melody in this that every time I hear it, I can't help but hear. Was it the opening to the song that is the opening theme of Attack on Titan of the first season.
Is it that beginning part?
Da, 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 da.
Oh, okay.
And every time, like, it's not exact, but it's close enough that every time I hear it. Yeah, I'm just like, oh man, I'm gonna get eaten by a giant creepy thing.
Giant creepy human creature thing guy.
But aside from that silliness, this felt very much like a J-pop song to me. It was very like bouncy and light and like an angel food cake.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm not sure when this actually plays in the game. I believe it's like the final level of the 4th round, but don't quote me on that. I haven't actually played this game. I tried to find the game and I couldn't find it to buy it before playing it for this episode. I wanted to play this track, so I believe that this is a versus match against a boss.
It's an untrained demon king.
Yeah. That title, by the
Ultimate
way,
Legend.
I pulled from the Game Boy Advance version of the track. Same exact track, it's just it's chiptune and on the Game Boy Advance instead of like a more MIDI kind of style like this is. And it's a good version, don't get me wrong, but this version just blows it out of the water.
Definitely.
I love the Mega Man X4 synth. That's the only thing I could think of to call it. Is the Mega Man X4 synth. It's that like chimey kind of da 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 da. I love that. That's like my favorite part. And of course the galloping bass.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, you can never go wrong on. And it definitely just feels like a great boss battle track. Like it feels like in Mega Man X4 there's another track where it's like and
that's the Jet Stingray level.
Yeah, Jet Stingray, yeah. This feels like a sequel to that song.
That's fair. I was actually going to say that when I first heard this and was struggling to believe that it was from a Puyo Pop game, the first thing that I went to was like a Mega Man X level. Or you said Mega Man X4, and I think you're right. I think that's a lot more accurate than Mega Man X because it's not chiptuney.
Agreed.
But this definitely could have been used in one of the later X games.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, the song kind of comes in with that weird harmonica too, so it kind of throws you for a loop. Like, and then just like those blistering drums come in, and you're like, whoa, this came out of nowhere for me. So good stuff by Hideki Abe, who has done a number of games, all pretty much like Sega related. Started off with audio on Sonic Adventure, doing the voice files operation. Regarding composition, mostly stuck with the Puyo series, so Puyo 2 in 1999, Puyo Pop Fever, which is this game, Puyo Pop Fever 2, Puyo 15th anniversary, and just continued the Puyo games. Also did like some editing on like some Sonic games like Sonic Unleashed, Phantasy Star Zero, 2008. They did sound effects on it. House of the Dead 2 and 3 return, they did sound direction on the port that came out for the Wii. And again, Puyo Puyo 7, Puyo Puyo 20th anniversary in 2011, Puyo Puyo Tetris in 2014, and Puyo Puyo Chronicle in 2016, which is the newest version that came out on the 3DS.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty much the Puyo Puyo composer, if you will.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, for at least the later half of the series, because the series has been out since like the 90s.
Oh, yeah, no, this has been around for quite some time.
All right, well, it looks like we're getting a call on the Patreon request hotline, so that means we're getting a request. Janine, can you go ahead and patch that call through? Caller, you are on the air with XVGM Radio. Who's this?
What's up, XVGM Radio? This is Kung Fu Carlito, and can you play me Last Battle from Romancing Saga 2? Thanks.
Yeah, so Kung Fu Carlito, that is not a problem. Let's get that queued up. So this is going to be Last Battle from Romancing Saga 2, which came out on the SNES in 1993, and that was composed by Kenji Ito. Welcome back. That was Romancing Saga 2 on the SNES. Came out in 1993. The track was Last Battle, and it was composed by Kenji Ito.
I love that bass line, that do.
That Final Fantasy bass line?
Yeah, that Final Fantasy bass line.
Yes, definitely.
Pretty much.
That was one of the first things that I actually noticed. I say it's a Final Fantasy bass line. It's not really.
No.
But it has the feel to it. It also doesn't come in like a Final Fantasy battle track, because usually it comes in with a bass line, and this came in with sort of those like soaring melody.
Very clearly using Square's
sound
driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, it just reeks of Nobuo Uematsu.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because obviously it's not Nobuo, but it really feels like this could have been in like Final Fantasy 4, 5, or 6, which I like. I am not super familiar with the Romancing Saga games, although they are games that are published by Square and developed by Square.
This one came out in Japan exclusively, though. Didn't really get a worldwide release until I think like the PlayStation Vita? Nope, sorry, iOS. iOS and Android had a release for it.
In 2016.
2016,
Yep. And it's actually come out on the Switch. Yeah, December 15th, 2017, which I think is shortly after the Switch came out.
Shortly after, yeah.
But yeah, just for those like us who are unfamiliar, really briefly, this game is an RPG, as Square is famous for. It came from the pre-Square Enix days in 1993. So it seems like the Saga games are about like an overarching, like generational saga. So you play as these characters, and as you go through their stories, they have heirs, or they pass the torch to the next generation. And depending on the choices that you make throughout the game, especially at the point of passing things off, depends on if you're gonna be continuing as a male or a female,
right? And either an emperor or an empress.
Right. Sounds pretty cool, actually. I've never really seen much about it. The only experience I have with any of the Saga games would be Saga Frontier on the PS1, which was a very interesting game. But not this one. This seems kind of cool. If I had the time to invest in a JRPG, I might actually give this a try.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
It sounds like if Final Fantasy was a dating game. Like a family dating game. I don't know, that sounded weird. But
No, I get you.
Yeah, like building a family, almost like a tactics kind of style in a way.
Yeah. Like building like a family, like an entire lineage. Really.
Yeah. I mean, neat. Also kind of sounds a little bit like Valkyrie Profile too, which we also heard earlier in this episode.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool. So Kenji Ito, just to touch on him, he has done quite a bit for Square, starting off with the 1990 soundtrack for Final Fantasy Legend 2 on the Game Boy.
Which was also technically a Saga game.
Yeah. And then also moving on to stuff like Final Fantasy Adventure, which was Secret of Mana, or the first...
Yeah, the first of the Mana series.
Of the Mana series, right, on the Game Boy as well. Then jumped ship to the Romancing Saga series 1, 2, and 3. Then Saga Frontier, which you just mentioned. Done work on Chocobo's Dungeon 2, one of my favorites, Chocobo Racing in 1999.
Yes.
And then just continued working for Square, doing various Mana games and Saga games. And then ended up working a little bit with Nintendo on Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Puzzle and Dragons. And Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and the 3DS. Later on, it looks like he may have come back to Square because his latest game in 2016 was Adventures of Mana, which was published by Square, but it was developed by a third-party MCF Code.
Neat.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds like Kenji Ito is to Saga and Mana what Nobuo Uematsu is to Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. So let's move into our next track. This is your pick. What do you got for us?
All right, next up, I'm going to go real old school here. We're going to listen to the Gym Battle theme, which was from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. Came out on the Game Boy in 1998 and was composed by Junichi Masuda. Welcome back. That was the Pokemon games, Red and Blue and also Yellow. Came out on the Game Boy in 1998 here in America, 1996 if you're in Japan. The track was called Gym Battle, and it was composed by Junichi Masuda.
Let's just get that composer out of the way right now. Pretty much only Pokemon.
Oh, I mean all the Pokemon.
Almost all Pokemon. Also Pulseman on the Genesis, Mega Drive exclusive, and Mendel Palace on the NES.
Yeah.
Pretty much works for Game Freak that does all the Pokemon games.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They are, I mean, all over this Pokemon thing. They are the Pokemon composer.
They are the Pokemon master of audio.
True.
Yeah. So why Pokemon?
My wife's a big Pokemon fan, as well as many of my friends. I also have a deep nostalgia for the first Pokemon game. It was interesting and new when it first came out. I remember I was in high school at the time. I remember I was also somewhat obsessed with programming things on the TI-83 calculators. Like, I used to make my own games, and I made very abridged version, but I made a text-based version of the Red and Blue Pokemon games on the TI-83. Huh. It was really stupid.
Wow.
I mean, it was probably it was probably somewhat impressive, but looking back, I'm like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing, and I pulled it off. So still impressive.
Neat.
But yeah, it's Pokemon. I mean, how do you not like Pokemon?
I don't like Pokemon.
No?
I don't.
No. Oh, okay.
I never got into it. I did play Red and Blue, and I played Yellow, and I just got bored really, really fast. And I like RPGs.
Yeah.
But my brother was a huge Pokemon fan, and he's 7 years younger than me. He was born in 90, I was born in 83.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a distance there, and I think...
Same, actually. My brother was born in 90, and I was in 83.
Yeah. So, kind of just a weird thing. Like, I was at that age where, like, I was playing more, like, mature stuff. Like, I was playing, like, Resident Evil, playing, like, Parasite Eve. I was playing a lot of stuff on PlayStation. I mean, I was probably, I think, maybe 98? Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I
distinctly remember being a sophomore in high school, actually.
Yeah. And I got a Game Boy Color right around that time, and I was playing stuff like Link's Awakening, DX.
Yes.
I was playing like Metroid Return of Samus.
No, I think that because we're the same age, we were at that age where when this came out, we were probably just on the too old end for this game, which was unfortunate for me because I really liked it. Yeah. I mean, I liked the card game, I liked the video game. I enjoyed the anime to a certain extent.
I watched the show because my brother watched it.
Yeah, I think that was a similar thing for me. Like I didn't love the show. It wasn't bad. So my friends and I that were into Pokemon at the time, I mean, we endured plenty of I wouldn't say harassment, but
it was not cool to like Pokemon.
Yeah, no. Like we got made fun of, and I mean we brought our Pokemon cards to school, just like we also brought Magic cards to school, and we'd play during study halls or after school and whatnot. And there were always the jerks. No one ever really did anything that was like nobody ever like stole the cards and did anything super bad. But we'd get picked on for it.
You get picked on, right.
But overall, like I thought it was an interesting new idea for as far as RPGs go, because I was used to the RPGs, because at this point in time I understood what an RPG was and was playing them properly. But the whole thing where you're not the one fighting, you're gathering these creatures and building your team fighting, and whatnot, and
leveling them up and whatnot,
and then choosing what abilities they have, and it was really neat, and I liked sort of the customizing you could do with it.
Yeah,
there wasn't a whole lot of like side stuff, so it was a fairly linear game. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's not my thing personally. But I always thought the music was pretty good.
Yeah,
and this track is no different.
Yeah, that was one of the other reasons. Like, I wanted to pick one of the old Pokemon tracks because I mean, there's some really good music in the Pokemon games these days, and even over the last like 10 or so years. Yeah. But you go back to this is original Game Boy. This isn't Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
and for how small that sound processor was compared to the later stuff.
Yeah.
And it still sounded really good. Like I was very aware of how sort of minimal this track was. And in my head, like I remember playing the game, and I feel like there was a lot more to it, but I think I was just a lot more engaged in what was going on, and the music felt bigger because of what was going on.
By the way, if people listened to that track and you were saying to yourself, man, I feel like I missed half the track. Like, some of the sound channels were missing. Make sure you go back and listen to it on headphones because it was a stereo-based track. So I didn't realize that at first until...
Oh, you just had one headphone in?
I was listening to it. Well, I mean, I've heard the song before, but I had to go back and like put both headphones in and be like, oh, yeah. I know this song, so... But yeah, that's kind of my thing with Pokemon. I mean, it's not a bad series. I don't have any issues with it or anything. I just... It was past my prime at that point.
That's fair.
I mean, I went from doing like Donkey Kong Country type stuff and then to more serious stuff like Chrono Trigger. And once that Chrono Trigger bug bit me, I was like totally into RPGs and I was playing all of them. But like this, I never considered an RPG to me. Like it wasn't like on my radar, so to speak. Yeah. It was more like, oh yeah, that's that thing that the kids love.
Yeah. So at that point,
I was already an old man.
Get off my lawn, you with your Pokemans.
Yeah. All right, we're going from insanely popular to insanely obscure. This is a wonderful little ditty from a game called Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire. It came out on the PC Engine CD in 1995. This is the boss theme, and this is by T's Music.
Buckle up.
Wow. Ooh. Wow, XVGM Radio listeners. That was amazing. Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire, which came out on the PC Engine CD in 95. That was Boss 1 theme or Boss theme, and it's by T's Music.
Are you sure it's not by Van Halen?
No, this blows Van Halen out of the water. Are you kidding me? Oh,
man.
Wow, man. Oh, goodness. Wow. I just am blown away at this track.
It was like an 80s hair band power ballad.
Pretty much. So, this game is a vertical shooter, shmup, whatever you want to call it, two-dimensional. The story takes place in 2092. Terrorists have been stealing these weapons, basically hiding them. There's a group of women, very similar to a previous episode that we talked about, Cyber Block Metal Orange. Yeah. Similar in that sense in terms of the aesthetic. You have a group of police force characters that are all women. The characters that you play as, there's like, I think 3 different characters, and you get your choice between ships or whatever. And it's just a phenomenal game. I mean, when this game came out, I guess a lot of people were like, well, it's kind of average, but the music and graphics totally made up for it. Kind of, pushed it into that upper echelon of shmups on the PC Engine CD.
Yeah.
This never got a US release, unfortunately. It did get re-released on the PSP as part of the Ginga Fukai Densetsu like series. There was like a series of games that came out.
But we never got that either.
We never got that either, and that is also an insanely expensive game. So the reason I found out about this game is Mike Matei from Cinemassacre, you know, like Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah.
He was talking about his most rarest game, and he had a legit version of this game, which is apparently a pain in the butt to actually sit down and play, because you've got to get, like, you can't just get a PC Engine CD and a PC Engine or anything like that. You've got to, like, get, like, there's a adapter card that you got to get for it or whatever to be able to play it. Like, it's a huge mess to be able to play it. So that's why I think a lot of people started going for this PSP version, because it's way easier.
Yeah,
you
more
just
accessible.
throw it in your PSP and go.
Yeah, but PSPs are not region locked, so it's too expensive anyway. But potentially, just because it didn't come out in America doesn't mean anything.
Right. Unfortunately, this game was subject to a lot of counterfeit copies being made in like the mid-2000s. Essentially what happened was people caught wind of how great this game was, not from his video. His video was fairly recent. So people have known about this game for a long time, and I guess it didn't really get a very high print run. It had a very low print run. It was at the end of the PC Engine's generation, and it basically sold out and instantly became like hot to trot.
Yeah.
So the game is now like anywhere between hundreds of dollars to $1,000 to be able to get a legit copy of it. The PSP version I've seen selling anywhere between $120 to $170. Wow. Just for a complete in-box copy of the PSP game, which is a lot better. Plus you get 2 additional games. So if I was going to get the game, I would go with that version.
Right.
You know, it's a really colorful, fun, action-packed, futuristic shooter.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with it. The music is done by T's Music. They've also worked on like Gate of Thunder, Lords of Thunder. Both have phenomenal soundtracks as well on the PC Engine CD. And essentially what they did was they were working on like the 3rd entry in that Thunder series. And I guess Hudson Soft saw how popular the Bishoujo adventure games were.
Oh, yeah.
So they were like, oh, we'll just work on that. So they got the guy who actually did the Galaxy Fraulein Yuna series, and so they got them to do the artist for that. Yeah, just phenomenal stuff. I mean, where to start with this track? It's just phenomenal from top to bottom. It's got those soaring, awesome lead line guitar harmonies and melodies. If you like that crazy hair metal, you know, type stuff, it's not really thrash metal. It's more just like classic heavy metal. Just it's got that classic sound, ex-Japan style, just like craziness. So good stuff. I love this type of music.
Yeah, very hard, very, very rockin'. And I mean, there was a reason when you introduced it, I told the listeners to buckle up.
Yeah, exactly. T's Music is a company, and they are basically hired guns to work on various different soundtracks. They've done everything from Evil Zone in '99 to the Ys series, where they did Ys 1 and 2, Eternal Story, which I think is a remake of Ys 1 and 2. They did, believe it or not, like the Crafting Mama, Babysitting Mama, like those games. Worked on Yoshi's New Island, worked on some of the Fire Emblem games, some of the more recent ones.
Yep.
Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. So they've been doing a lot of work with Nintendo lately, for the most part. Just phenomenal stuff. Lots of different composers on this one. It'd be impossible to figure out who specifically worked on this one. I couldn't find any details for who specifically worked on it, other than just like a blanketed like T's Music. So
Right.
Yeah. But that brings us to our final track, which is your pick. What do you got for us?
So I'm going to bow out with a track from Castlevania Lament of Innocence. This came out in the PS2 in 2003. The track is Demonic Symphony Poem, also known as Death's Theme, and was composed by Michiru Yamane. Welcome back from the final track. That was Castlevania Lament of Innocence. Came out in the PS2 in 2003. The track was called Demonic Symphony Poem, also known as Death's Theme, and was composed by Michiru Yamane.
I don't remember this song, and I beat Lament of Innocence, and I beat Death and the whole 9 yards, but I don't remember. I think I was just maybe in the moment.
I was going to say, you were probably too focused on the insanity that was fighting death.
Yeah, but I dig this track. It's the only thing I'll say is that some of those like cymbal crashes sound very kind of flat, which is weird for Yamane, because normally like most of her stuff is all like really well done stuff, but you can almost tell that this is MIDI.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I was going to say, one of my quote-unquote favorite parts of this track is actually the drums, because it sounds like a drum kit.
Sure.
Which is funny, because so in my head, Death pulls those 2 pegs out of his scythe and they're drumsticks, and he's sitting at an electronic drum pad. Just those very, very obvious synth toms. I mean, I still think they're really fun. Like I like the sound of them, but it's just it's a very distinct sound that you can instantly hear and pick up. Like, oh, that's a drum kit tom, not like a live or real tom.
Yeah, but did you beat this game?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't beat the other one.
Curse of Darkness?
Yeah.
Yeah. I beat that one too. That was tough.
I want to play that one. I've heard so many good things about it because there's so much to it. But I own Lament of Innocence.
It actually kind of takes a lot of inspiration from Pokemon, believe it or not. There's like monster raising capabilities where you like level up certain monsters a certain way, and they're kind of like your relics or whatever. It's a weird game, but
there's like the Demon Forge or Soul Forge or some weird like
you're the Devil Forge master.
Devil Forge,
Hector.
What a common name for a Devil Forge master.
Hector, yes.
But Castlevania. So for those who are not familiar with Lament of Innocence, this is the technical start of the Castlevania lore. Like this game sees the creation of the Vampire Killer Whip. It sees technically the creation of the Dracula character, who took the name Dracula from over his old name, which was actually the main character's friend, Matthias Kronkvist.
I always thought it was Matthias.
There's an H in there, so I don't know.
I remember being totally turned off by the story.
Really?
And I don't know if it was just because I came down from playing Castlevania, playing Castlevania Legends, where like Sonya Belmont was the first Belmont. I talked about this in my Castlevania Legends review on my channel, but I was always like, oh, this is the first game. And then when Lament came out, I was like, oh, this is the first game.
Yeah.
And so the plot and the story and everything, I don't know, it just got kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought a little bit of a retcon.
Yeah. I don't know. For what it's worth, Lament of Innocence was a great game. Like, I loved the music, loved the gameplay and everything, but I just, for whatever reason, always didn't like the plot, and Leon just wasn't really a great Belmont. I don't know.
He was a bit whiny. I mean, to be fair, he had to kill his girlfriend, so I think he has...
Didn't he, like, turn his girlfriend into a whip or something like that?
That's the story behind the vampire killer.
Right.
He had to kill her with this whip.
That's right.
Because I think she was either turning into a succubus or something was happening to her, and she was going to either die or become a slave to Dracula.
It just didn't make any sense.
And in killing her, it absorbed her soul and then became a vampire killing weapon. I feel like all of the 3D Castlevanias sort of suffer this... They are not as well liked by the Castlevania community, and in some cases it's the controls are awful. In some cases it's the story isn't so great. But like this Castlevania 64, not very well liked.
I really enjoy the Castlevania.
You're allowed to be wrong. I know. I didn't actually play it. I don't have a real opinion on it. But those games, and even for as much as I've heard good things about Curse of Darkness, it's another one of the 3D games, and
it's good. Yeah, that's the follow-up after this one.
Yeah. I think that's the only 3D Castlevania that I've heard good things about. I mean, you could argue Lords of Shadow, but that's not Castlevania. It's the God of War with a Castlevania skin.
Yeah, I would say Curse of Darkness is probably the best of the 3Ds in terms of actual like gameplay and everything. It's a pretty good game, but I'd say Lament is closer to being a more classic Castlevania.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really liked about it. There's a lot of the classic monsters, the bosses were classic, and I mean overall, I don't think I played the one with Sonya.
Yeah,
Sonya.
Well,
so I didn't have the...
Well, that was the Legends.
Right.
That was the Game Boy one. And then they were supposed to come out with Resurrection, and it got canceled. That was going to be the 3D one on the Dreamcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Overall, I enjoyed the game. Like the music from the game is pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, again, Michiru Yamane. So most of our listeners will probably be familiar with Michiru Yamane because they've done Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
We go there, but they started in 1989 with Motocross Maniacs, music composition on that.
Yeah.
1990 SD Snatcher. I believe we mentioned that one earlier in the episode too.
Yeah. She did a game called Sword of Etheria, which only came out in PAL regions and Japan, and it's basically like the Wizard of Oz meets... It's like a Japanese take on the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I've heard about that actually.
Yeah.
Huh.
I just got my PS2 modded, so I'm going to be trying that one out pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Asterix in 1992 music composition, sound design on Castlevania Bloodlines, Suikoden in 1995, Castlevania Symphony of the Night 1997, Harmony Dissonance in 2002, Castlevania, more Castlevania.
Pretty much the series composer for the most part, ever
Basically.
since that era, like Bloodlines and
Yeah. And then most recently, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2018, and I would wager to bet
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. She's
Ritual of the Night is
lead
the other one,
composer
right,
on that one, along with Jake Kaufman and somebody else. I think Ippo Yamada is.
But that's the one that's still not out yet, right?
Yes, that's the one that's coming out later this year. Cool.
We'll take bets on that one.
It is.
Oh, it is.
It's definitely coming out.
It's
this
finally
year.
okay.
Yeah.
It's been coming out for.
Yeah, no, it's finally coming out this year. So
Thank
2019.
heavens.
Woo! And we will end it with a woo. So that was our boss battle themes episode. I want to know what your favorite track is. Leave a comment down below. But Justin, what is your favorite pick of this episode?
So I'm between this PC Engine CD track and this Puyo Pop Fever track. Puyo Pop Fever track surprised me, and I really like it for, looking at it and being like, oh, it's Puyo Pop, and then going, whoa, this is not what I expected. And then that PC Engine CD game was just...
You could say the same thing about King of the Monsters, too. Oh. Come on, Justin.
I already sang the Tailspin theme once today. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that PC Engine CD track, and since I'm gonna pick it, I should figure out how to say the name. Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire. That was just, it came out of nowhere. It was like, what is this game? Who is this anything? And then it's just
amazing,
like, face melting, so much fun.
I am also gonna go with that track. Yeah, surprise.
Pick of the night.
Yeah. And then I'm going to follow it up with Puyo Pop.
Yeah, no, that's so we are in total agreement.
And then I'm going to follow it up with King of the Monsters.
Okay, and now we've fallen off.
Oh.
So, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons, without whom this show's continued improvement would be impossible. They are Alex Messenger, Scott McElhone, Cam Worma, Chris Murray, Kung Fu Carlito of the Heroes 3 podcast, Jordan and Anson Davis, Chris Myers, Peter Panda, The Autistic Gamer 89, and Mixmaster. If you would like to become a patron, you can sign up at patreon.com/XVGMradio. There you can see the different tiers as well. Just $1 gets you a thank you and access to our monthly live shows.
You can visit our website, xvgmradio.com, where you can listen to all the episodes and learn more about your hosts, as well as any of our guests or composers that we've had on the show.
If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
And if you'd like what you've heard, please consider giving us a rating on iTunes and a review.
You can also join our Facebook group and chat with other VGM lovers at www.facebook.com/groups/xvgmradio, where we talk about everything from current game news to sharing awesome VGM tracks, or just talking about the podcast itself.
And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle for both of those sites is @XVGMRadio.
If you don't have any other social media or just want to try something unique, check us out on our Discord group chat. Links will be in the show notes.
So what do we got coming up next episode, Justin?
So, in a couple of weeks, episode 24 will actually be puzzle games. Should have saved your Puyo Pop for that one.
Oh, I should have.
It's all right. We've got a ton of good stuff lined up anyway.
Yes, we do.
Some really interesting picks on both ends.
Yeah. I'm going to pick a song like Ginga Fukei Densetsu. I'm just going to pick that track again.
It's not a puzzle game, though. It's a shooter. It's a shmup.
But don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Once again, this is Mike.
And Justin.
Signing off for XVGM Radio.
However you want to pronounce it. Symbiote.
I've never heard anybody
symbiote.
pronounce it symbiote.
No? I don't know.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I just think it reminds me of like Kumbaya.
Oh.
Symbiote.
Fair enough.
Tailspin.
Oh, God. I remember really liking the theme song. Probably my favorite part of the show was the theme song.
I always thought that the part in the theme song that was like, it was like, da 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 da, to understand. I always thought they were saying eat Pokemon to understand.
Teach Pokemon, I think.
Oh, is it teach Pokemon?
It's teach Pokemon to understand the power that's inside.
I always thought they were saying eat Pokemon to understand.
The power, I mean, that could still work. We're eating them to understand the power that's inside them. We're like cannibals, we're consuming them to gain their power.
I don't know.
But no.